Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I got to tell you guys something. I just saw a tweet from a feminist writer out of New York by the name of Amanda Duarte. And Amanda made a tweet that I would almost say is probably the most racist tweet I've seen in 2022. Is definitely among the most racist tweets I've ever seen in my life. And so Amanda, who I guess she's a feminist writer, I guess out of New York, and does a lot of Broadway stuff. She put up this tweet that was shared to me by a friend of mine, I believe it was T Khalik, shared this, and I thought it was kind of crazy. And so I'm gonna read the tweet to you, and then I'd just like to get your reaction in terms of how you feel, maybe in a sentence. Tell me what you think. She says, I do wonder how these white supremacist lawmakers would feel if their little white daughters were raped and impregnated by Black men. So what do y'all think about that? Give me like a one sentence reply. Hey, my name is Corey. Hey, Analyze. How you doing? Hey, Khaled. How are you? Khaled Harlem. What do you guys think about that? Give me like a one or two word reply. You think it's crazy, disgusting? It sounds about white. What do y'all think? Why do they hate and fear us? Ask Kent. Hey, Supreme Allah. How are you? What do you guys think? Give me an answer. Somebody said WTF. What else? Let's see. I'm looking for more responses here. SMH. The fuck is this live? Yes, it's live. Wow. Yeah. I couldn't believe it. So this lady, I don't know who Amanda Duarte is. Amanda Duarte is a name I've never heard in my life, and she's a blonde white woman, and I'll put her picture on the screen so you guys can kind of see her. And I think she's kind of ashamed of her tweet. She has already, issued a pretty unconditional apology and said that what she said was disgusting and everything else. But I'm sorry, Amanda, I can't let you off the hook that quick. Now, let me just say this, though. I'm not going to necessarily respond with just pure anger and vitriol. It's easy to just be angry, which of course, I mean, if it outrages you, I don't blame you. I totally get it. But I think that there's something deeper here, right? What I love it when there she is right there, Amanda Duarte, that's her name. I love it when people tell the truth. I love it when people really tell you how they really feel and really what they think. Because here's the deal. Amanda is a writer up in New York. And New York, I spent time in New York. You guys know I was on the faculty at Syracuse University. And I came from the South. And I thought, like a lot of people think, that when you leave the South, you're leaving behind the racism and you're going to live with the good white folks. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Like, that's the image, right? They give you the image that in the South, everybody, is a pretty much a gun-toting cowboy that wants to kill Black people in their spare time, which might be true in some cases, but, I haven't seen it, but maybe it's out there. And then in the North, it's like these wonderful liberal people who just want to see you, succeed and believe in equality and all this other stuff. That is not true. That is simply not true. And in fact, Dr. Claude Anderson, you guys know we have Dr. Boyce Book Club on Wednesday nights. By the way, if you go to boycewatkins.com, you can join the book club for free. And we were reading a book called Black Labor, White Wealth by Dr. Claude Anderson. In this book, and everybody should have a copy, he basically explains that the liberals in the North during slavery did not want Black people to be free. The liberals in the North, right after slavery, were largely responsible for the successful implementation. Pay attention now. A lot of people don't know this. They're not going to teach you this in school. They ain't going. They don't teach this in public school. But that's okay. I'm talking to you now. The white liberals in New York and in the Northeast, these are your so-called allies, because they neglected Black people, because they gave that benign neglect that we talk about, that allowed for the successful implementation of the Black codes in the South. That because the people in the North, your allies, didn't step up and support the freed slaves, they were like, what are we going to do with all these Negroes? They ain't coming to take our job. They come take my job at the factory. I'm lynching them just like they did in the South, right? So these people, because they neglected the slaves, they sent the slaves back to the South. In the South, they were being abused and killed and chased by the KKK, right? And remember, the other day, Professor James Small came on the platform, and he talked about how his father, who was a very successful home builder. He knew how to build houses with his bare hands. He came to New York. Again, white liberals live in New York. He's supposed to have all these opportunities, right? No, it didn't work that way. because the unions and the licensing was controlled by people that wanted to protect their own resources and take care of their own families first. He could not get a job doing anything that matched his skill set. So I'm going to read the quote to you, the tweet again, so everybody can kind of catch up. In case you just came in, we're talking about a lady named Amanda Duarte, who is a white writer that I've never heard of in my life. So Amanda Duarte made a tweet, and I'm going to try to actually see if I can put the tweet on the screen so you can really see Amanda's illustrious words, like right there in front of you. And there's so much. I mean, there's so much to unpack here. Y'all know me. I go deep with it. I don't just see what everybody else is saying. I overthink on everything, and so I love when people tell the truth. So I'm not really caught up in the emotionality so much of what she said. I know what y'all think about us. I've never believed that they're always our friends, but it's okay though. I don't expect that. I love myself, so I don't need love from you per se. And she says, I do wonder how these white supremacist lawmakers would feel if their little white daughters were raped and impregnated by black men. Not just raped, not just impregnated, but raped and impregnated. So the next day, Amanda comes back after her crazy tweet, and she says, I tweeted something extremely stupid and racist last night. I deeply apologize and will not try to defend or explain it. Again, sincere apologies to anyone who was hurt by it. Now, do y'all think that apology was sincere? Give me a yes or no if you think her apology was sincere. Give me a yes or no. What do y'all think? Y'all apology accepted? Everything cool? We all right? It's good? We allies again? What do y'all think? We're gonna go show up at the polls, holding hands, voting for Uncle Joe? Is that what? Okay, what do y'all think? Okay, I see no. I see Queen of Consciousness says no. Okay, I'm not seeing any yeses. Sorry, Amanda. Intelligent black people. I don't think intelligent black people are forgiving you. So maybe you have to go, hang out with Al Sharpton or somebody. He'll forgive you if you pay him, $80 and give him a bucket of chicken. So maybe that's where you can go get your forgiveness. Or maybe you can go down to some church, where they love to forgive people. Y'all remember those poor people that when they had the Dylan Roof situation? Remember Dylan Roof, that guy in South Carolina went up and shot up the church, and then like literally his first day in court, there were people from the church that were there screaming that they forgive him. That was weird. I don't understand that logic, but then again, slave training is very deep, and that's just what it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of give you a couple of things to think about on this tweet, or at least a couple of Dr. Boyce thoughts that popped in my brain when I heard Amanda Duarte's tweet. And I'm going to read it to you one more time for those of you who just came in. She literally says, in response to this Roe versus Wade situation, and this is what she's responding to, the Roe versus Wade, the announcement that they might actually reverse Roe versus Wade, which you can think about that what you want. We discussed that earlier, so we're not going to dig too deep into that. I'll let you have your opinion on that. She says, I do wonder how these white supremacist lawmakers would feel if their little white daughters were raped and impregnated by black men. So basically, it sounds like she's saying that if you knew your little white girl was going to be violated by a black man, you would probably support abortion. That's not exactly a compelling argument, right? To be pro-choice, but this is an example of how racism is used. The black people are used in many cases as pawns for white liberal agendas. The first thing they do, if they want you to support their agenda, is they run along and say, he racist, y'all. He racist. They racist over here. And we're like, they racist. Okay, Bob, what do you want me to do? They racist? What? They racist? Right? And when they're pointing at over there and saying the racism's over there, they're not pointing at their own racism. That was my biggest frustration. When I was on the faculty at Syracuse University for 13 years, I was absolutely astonished by how these so-called good white folks didn't realize how racist they were. I said, look at you have dozens of academic departments that have never promoted one black person in 100 years of history. That's racist. The KKK couldn't do worse than that. You do understand that, right? And you have incidents on your campus, and this is, go look it up. This is Syracuse. This is where I work. This is New York. This is upstate. You can't go much. You keep going too north, you're going to be in Canada. So this is the North. These are your liberal allies, right? They have so many incidents of racism at that university, and a lot of times it's because sometimes the people most impacted by a disease are the ones who swear that they have been cured. Because you refuse to acknowledge the racism within your own space, you become the most racist son of a bitch that there is. You're more racist than racist people are, because at least at least a racist person can say, well, I was born a racist. I don't like the Negroes. I grew up back down in Tennessee. We didn't like Negroes. I met the funny true story. I swear, I promise you, true story. There was a lady that I worked with at Taco Bell. When I was in high school, I had a job at Taco Bell, and we used to have to cook the meat with this big grinder thing. We would stir the meat with these big old stirrers, right? And I like Taco Bell. Now, I met my daughter's mama. I had met my first girlfriend at Taco Bell, and we had sex. And the next thing you know, she's pregnant. So stay away from tacos. Tacos will get you in trouble every time, right? So anyway, so I'm at Taco Bell and we're stirring the meat. And there's another person stirring meat because we needed extra meat because a lot of customers were going to be coming in the next hour. So we're stirring our meat, and I'm talking to the lady that I'm stirring the meat with. Now, this lady was a little short, ugly little white girl from West Virginia. She was sweet, but she wasn't that pretty. I ain't gonna lie. And but she was nice as hell. And she loved to date black guys. Like, that's one thing I noticed. She would date lots and lots of black guys. And I didn't care. I didn't. Who's judging? That's their choice. I mean, who can blame anybody for being attracted to the black man? I mean, we are the sexiest thing out here. I mean, come on, ladies, give me a yes in the chat if you agree. Black men we are walking gods in so many respects. So anyway, so we're stirring the meat. I'm stirring the meat with the short little dumpy lady from West Virginia. And I kid you not. So we're talking, and I'm like, so where are you from? She's like, I'm from Butt Crack, West Virginia, wherever that was. And I'm like, okay, so tell me, she's telling me about her family. I'm 17 now, and we're stirring the meat. And then I said, you got any siblings? She said, yes, I have a brother, but he went to prison though. I said, oh, what did he go to prison for? She said, cause he killed a nigger. And I said, what? I said, what did you say? And then she literally, I kid you not, the lady goes, he killed a nigger. Like, didn't you hear me? Like almost like telling me, like, yeah, put mustard on the hot dog. Like it was like she said it to me in such a way that I couldn't get mad, because she didn't even know that what she was saying was offensive. She had no idea. And I said, you do understand that you're not supposed to say that, right? And she said, say what? And I said, you can't say like the N-word. No, I'm black. You ain't supposed to do that. And I wasn't gonna fight her. I'm not that type of person. If you're ignorant, I don't blame ignorant people for being ignorant. They just, because they don't even know they're ignorant. Why are you gonna get mad at an ignorant person for being ignorant, right? And so I explained to her, like, no, that's an offensive word. You don't call it. She said, well, where I'm from, that's just what we called everybody. I kid you, she said that's just what black people were called. And so when I told her, and I said, because you're dating a black man, he probably won't like that either. And she's like, oh, thank you for telling me, right? This is kind of, this stuff is real, right? That's the racism that's interesting. And I wasn't even mad because it was innocent. I mean, how could she doesn't really hate black men? She hung around black people. Her friends were black. Her boyfriend was black. It never crossed her mind that was an offensive term. So what's my point here? Well, my point is that, you have people that give you their racism just directly, right? They just lay it out there and let you know where they stand and what they believe, and that's it. The liberals have learned how to serve your racism with sugar and ice cream on top. They have learned to put icing on a shit cake, and some of y'all eat it up like it's your birthday. The racism that I see on the left is every bit as bad as what I see on the right. It is insane to me. It is the only way I can even conclude that we have somehow figured out or decided that the people on the left are our friends is perhaps because we just are so desperate for friends that we just will grab onto anybody who will make us feel better about ourselves. So if they say, well, we believe Black Lives Matter, we're like, oh, well, thank you, because there's nobody tell me my life matters. I appreciate hearing a white person tell me that my life matters. Well, that must mean my life matters. Right? Like now my life matters. Before it didn't matter, but now that you told me that, sir, I now knows that my life matters. Well, let me just tell you a secret, black people. Your life mattered before they ever told you that it did. And even when they told you that it did, the fact that they can let 100 black children get murdered in Chicago every week or two and not say a word about it, that tells you that they really don't feel like your life matters that much, because if they did, they would care about all those little black children being killed. But then again, at the same time, how are you going to get mad at them when it ain't their job to keep up with your goddamn children? Those are your kids, black man, that are being killed. You're supposed to care about your kids. You're not sitting around worried about Chinese children or Arab children or Jewish children, are you? So why do you expect them to be worried about your kids? Black woman, these are your children. So at the end of the day, that whole Black Lives Matter conversation is not even one I need to have. First of all, I don't care that you think my life matters because I already know it. Number two, even if you tell me that it matters, that doesn't change anything. And then thirdly, it's not even your job to tell me that my life matters. How pathetic of a son of a bitch would I have to be to need somebody else to tell me that my children's lives matter? Do you understand what I am saying, Black people? Do you get any piece of what I'm saying here? So y'all know me. I'm gonna analyze some of this stuff the way other people might analyze it, but I'm gonna come to a completely different conclusion. I'm done being outraged by what Amanda Duarte said. I thank Amanda Duarte, and I'm gonna read her quote for those of you that just came in. I like her quote because I like it when people are honest. Just tell me where you stand. Tell me if you don't like Black people, that's okay. Because shit, I got friends that don't like white people very much either, and that's all right. But we don't hate you. You just get on our nerves sometimes. And because we have a difficult marriage with white America, right? Sometimes they love us, sometimes they hate us, sometimes we love them, sometimes we hate them. Seriously, be honest. Let's do a confession. How many of y'all have ever been sitting at a table and said some stuff about white people that will probably get you fired from your job? How many of you, seriously, come on, stop lying. Stop lying. Right? So at the end of the day, it's not so much now her quote was revealing. There's something to be offended by, but you shouldn't just be offended by the fact that she stated what was already in her heart. That part is what you thank her for. What you want to actually dig deep into, if you go to that next level of understanding, is you will see that her quote reveals something very sinister about the liberal agenda that has always been in place in terms of utilizing Black people and manipulating Black people for their own causes at the expense of our ability to serve our own community. Unfortunately, some of these agendas are very anti-Black and very anti-family. The Black woman, Black women, look, if you want to be empowered, create your own movement. You got a womanist movement. You got a lot of strong Black women in your community, strong, capable, intelligent, equal, all that stuff. But why does it have to be tagged on to somebody else's stuff? I can respect any Black woman who says we should be treated with dignity, and I'll be like, yeah, those rappers, they need to stop that shit. They need to stop saying these things about Black women. I respect all of that, but when you come along and you sound like a white woman in blackface, I can't respect that because you don't even know who you are. You let somebody else tell you who you are, and you're carrying their flag for them. You're not an independent restaurant. You're just a McDonald's franchise. The corporate offices are telling you what food to serve in your restaurant. They're telling you what your operational procedures are. They're telling you what logo you're going to have on your restaurant. So you're not the same as Mama Jenkins Kitchen with the home cooked meals. You're just another McDonald's franchise. There's 10,000 of you. There's 10 billion served or whatever. Right? So anyway, let me keep going. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, share, subscribe. And also just a reminder, my wife and I are going to do a Black wealth and a Black relationship event in Chicago. It's adults only, so you can't bring the kids, but bring yourselves. It's kind of a mix and mingle. We want to bring people together, but also we're going to learn principles on wealth and family and everything else. She's a relationship therapist. Y'all know that she's a licensed therapist and a full professor of social work. My PhD's in finance. So we're going to come together and work together as a Black man and Black woman to hopefully support and educate our community in a positive way. So if you're into that kind of thing and you want to join us or join us for any of our other events, just go to boycewatkins.com, or if you're on Instagram, hit the link in the bio. My Instagram is The Real Boyce Watkins. So I'm going to read the tweet one more time for those of you that just came in. So Amanda Duarte, some random lady that I've never heard of. She's not very famous, but she's famous now. She says, I do wonder how these white supremacist lawmakers would feel if their little white daughters were raped and impregnated by Black men. So she's saying this in response to this weird leak. Like, how I didn't know the Supreme Court had leaks. Like, how does the Supreme Court just leak information out? That's really weird to me, but that's another conversation. But because there's this leak that Roe versus Wade is going to be overturned, possibly, which will be very interesting. It's going to be really volatile political year for you guys. She makes this tweet basically saying, I guess her argument for abortion is that the reason you want abortion is that in the event that your little white lily flower is raped by a Black man, you need an insurance policy, right? If she dares sleeps with a black man, then you need something that's going to wash it away. And so abortion will allow your daughter to wash away her sins. Well, it's not like it hasn't happened before. It's not like somebody hasn't, slept with somebody and then said, "Oh, he raped me," right? This is a historical fact as well, right? That there are many cases of black men being falsely accused of assaulting women, particularly white women. And in fact, Black Wall Street got burned down because a white woman said a black man touched her. Everybody chased after Bill Cosby because of the things he allegedly did to white women back in the 1960s and 70s, right? So the idea of touching or harming a white woman, especially as a black man, has always been seen as just literally the ultimate sin in this society. There's a reason why when they lynch black men, this is the kind of stuff we read about in Black Labor, White Wealth in the book club. Is whenever they lynched the black man, one of the things they always did was they chopped off his genitals. Why did they go for the genitals? Why didn't they cut off his fingers? Why didn't they cut off his toes? Because the genitals, it is the penis that is the thing that scares everybody, right? So she's sort of leaning into that, which is really, really fascinating. And so also another thing about this quote is that this really speaks to this idea when you really talk about your liberal allies. This really is revealing in terms of how they feel about you. So imagine if you have, if I'm sitting here with my friend Rico, and I want somebody to do something, and I say, "Hey, you need to do what I say, or I'm going to let Rico, rape your daughter, right? Or I'm going to let Rico touch your food, and it'll make you sick because you don't want a person like Rico touching your food. But Rico's my friend, right? But I'm using Rico's existence as kind of like this threat. Like if our Negroes were to touch your daughters, I bet you would change your opinion on abortion, right? That's obviously like a very sort of direct insult in terms of what the black man represents, right? She didn't say that they would change their laws if white men went and did this, or if Asian men went and did this. She said black men, right? Which speaks to a certain perception that the world tends to have of the black male as being sexually predatory, a sexual predator, as being seen as a criminal, right? And this is why you got to be careful about music. The reason hip hop music does so well right now is because there are hundreds, if not thousands, of hip hop artists right now that present black men in a way that is predatory and criminal. If they were presenting black men in hip hop as intelligent, as thoughtful, as taking care of their kids, as building their wealth and educated, those records will not sell. Those records do not sell. The records that sell are when you show up as the gorilla that some people think that you are. Right. So a lot of times the reason you got to be real careful about celebrating some of these artists is because they're simply making money by putting on the gorilla suit. Right. I got my chain hanging low. I got my tattoos all over my body. I got teardrops because I killed so many other black people. I might rape your daughter. I don't care about women. I pee on her after I get done having sex with her because I'm such an animal. And this is very appealing in a certain context. It's like, if you're a gorilla in a gorilla cage, then people will pay money to go see you act like a gorilla. But the gorilla is not allowed to operate outside the gorilla cage. He's not allowed to operate. The gorilla can't say, well, I don't want to be a gorilla anymore. I want to be your babysitter. Or I don't want to be the gorilla anymore. I want to be the accountant. They're going to say, no, gorillas aren't accountants. Just get back in the cage. We'll pay you to be in the cage, but we're not going to pay you to do this stuff over here because that's what the good folks do. Right. So if you go to Google, for example, I noticed Google had a concert. They had a Lizzo concert. And what's interesting is that if you look at some of their different events, they'll bring in these black performers, the thugged out rapper or Lizzo, who presents an image of the black woman as the Mammy Jezebel stereotype. There's a specific stereotype that's well documented in history of the black woman as the Mammy, the big black angel mama, or the Jezebel, which is basically the hoe. So Lizzo is the Mammy Jezebel. She's like a 2-for-1. So basically, if you look at Google in terms of who they bring in as entertainers, they got black people all day. But if you look at who they hire as engineers, they don't hire black people for that. You don't hire the gorilla to come and work as your accountant. The gorilla or the people that you see in an animal-like capacity are not the ones you're going to choose for the jobs that require sophistication. When you're developing new technology, you're not looking at black folks for that. But when you need a good rapper, you're like, where the Negroes at? right? So ultimately, there are typecasts in this society that people thrust upon you. Again, that's why I encourage you to read Dr. Claude Anderson's books, because he breaks all this down. He shows you how this isn't new. This has been going on since slavery. That's why America doesn't even know it's there. We don't teach it. We don't talk about it. We don't acknowledge it. And so it just continues to persist. So continuing on, one of the other things that's interesting about this is when you talk about this lady, her name was Amanda Duarte. Amanda Duarte, I'll read it one more time for those of you who just came in. Amanda Duarte said, I do wonder how these white supremacist lawmakers would feel if their little white daughters were raped and impregnated by black men. Another thing this made me think about was it's so process it this way. Okay, I'm gonna go a little bit deeper. I hope y'all can go with me on this. So what you're kind of saying is that you would probably be okay with abortion if your daughter was pregnant with a black man, because that's just literally like a fate worse than death, right? You get it? You can follow what I'm saying? Okay, so because being impregnated by a black man is something that would literally make you willing to go ahead and flip over, and I'm not telling you to be pro-choice or pro-life, it's up to you. But because being impregnated by a black man is something that would literally make you say, I don't want my grandchild to even be here, right? That speaks to the origins, unfortunately, of a lot of the feminist movement, a lot of the Planned Parenthood movement. This makes me think about another white woman, another white feminist by the name of Margaret Sanger. And Margaret Sanger, if you recall, if you go do the research, I'm not telling you to be pro-choice or pro-life. I told you I'm probably pro-choice. And the reason I say that is because I've never been a person who's going to get up and fight somebody who's going to the abortion clinic. What I would probably just say to you is I'm not participating in that because it's not right with my spirit. But I'm not going to beat you up. I'm not going to cuss you out. I'm not going to throw a Bible at your head. I'm not going to protest in front of the building. I'm not doing any of that. But I am going to say, why do you have so many of these clinics in the black neighborhoods? And why do you put up billboards promoting this stuff to black people, like more so than anybody else? I mean, I know white women do it too. Don't get me wrong. I mean, everybody does it. It's like a popular sport, apparently. But what is it about your existence that makes you want to go out of your way to encourage women outside of your community to make sure that their black boys are never born and their black daughters don't exist? So where I connect, the reason I connect Amanda Duarte's tweet to Margaret Sanger is because she's basically saying that, again, because they're racist, that if your daughter's impregnated with a black child, you would probably, I bet you would be on my side then, because we both agree that getting rid of that black baby would be necessary. That's what it almost sounds like. I know she probably isn't quite trying to say that, but that's what it comes off as. It literally says it's like when we tell our kids to like put your coat on when you go outside, and they're like, I don't want to put on my coat. And I say, I bet if you go out there and you catch a cold, or you catch cold because your immune system's weak, I bet you want to put on your coat then. Right? So it's like, if this horrible thing happens to you, we'll both be in alignment. Because we both agree that you catching a cold is bad. So if you catch a cold, then you're going to be on my side because there are going to be consequences for your behavior. So by her saying, if your daughter was raped and impregnated by a black man, you would be on my side. That's kind of living with a very subtle assumption that the worst thing in the world would be for your little sweet innocent little lily white baby to give birth to a black child. That black child must be exterminated. Like, that's kind of what. Now, it doesn't mean that that's what she believes. I'm not saying she believes all this, but it comes out that way. It kind of says, like, look. So it goes back to Margaret Sanger, because you remember, if you look up, go look it up. Please go look it up. If you go look up Margaret Sanger, you will find that she very blatantly states that the part of the reason that she believes in this Planned Parenthood stuff that she talks about, again, believe what you want, I'm not judging you. She makes it real clear, like there's desirable people that we want in our society, and then there are undesirable people. There are people that we want to live, and then there are people that we should just kill them before they're born, just to make sure they don't cause any problems. Well, unfortunately, because America is the country that it is, because America is America, because America is the same country that Dr. Claude Anderson writes about in his book, it's going to just happen that black people end up in the undesirable pile a whole lot more than everybody else, right? So it's because think about it. What are the reasons that they give for terminating a pregnancy? I'm not gonna use the A word because I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. This ain't an abortion conversation. You can think what you want. I'm not gonna judge you. I promise. We don't judge. We share ideas here. I don't judge what you believe. Believe your belief, but process this for a moment. What are the things that make somebody undesirable? Well, or the reasons they might say, go ahead and do it. Okay. If you're poor, well, black people are more likely to be poor than white people. If you're from a broken family, like the father bailed and you don't want to have his baby, well, black people have more broken families than everybody else. I was a poor child from a broken family. I never knew my father. I barely knew the man. I met the man, I think, once, maybe twice, right? So I'm a perfect candidate for a termination. Like, why let Boyce live? He's all he's gonna do is grow up and kill somebody or go to jail. He's one of Margaret Sanger's undesirables. Give me a yes or no. In fact, yes or no. Do you think, based on the fact that my mother was a 17-year-old single mother with no education in the hood, with where the daddy had run off, do you believe Margaret Sanger would have supported me being born? Yes or no? Do you think that if my mama sat down with Miss Sanger and said, ma'am, what do you think I should do with this baby here? Do you think that she would have said, oh no, this child might have a great future. He might have a destiny. You should give him life? Or do you think that she would say, oh no, you need to terminate because you're going to have a whole lot of problems, right? So here's what I'm saying at the end of the day. If you want to know my sort of a synopsis of my perspective on this, when it comes to this pro-choice, pro-life discussion, I don't care what you think. I'm okay with your belief. I really am. If you're pro-life, I agree with you. I ride with you. But I'm not going to protest with you. I'm not going to show up with a picket sign. I'm not going to hit somebody upside the head with a Bible. I just won't do it myself, right? Or one time somebody asked me, "What do you think? Should I do it? Should I get the should I get the procedure or not get it?" Somebody came to me like that. It happened twice actually. In both cases, I said no because I'm visual. When you tell me you're pregnant, I'm a future forward thinker. So I'm not looking at what things are. I'm looking at what they're becoming. That's why I talk to you guys about the future more than I talk about the present. Because I'm not looking at now. I'm not looking at 2020. I'm looking at 2030, 2040, 2050. So because I think that way, I said no. I said I don't think, if you want my opinion, if my opinion matters to you, I don't believe you should do it because I don't think it's not going to wear well on my spirit if I'm the one that told you to do it. If you do it, that's going to be on you. That's not. No, right? So if you're pro-life, I can ride with you. If you're pro-choice, then I'm probably pro-choice too. Again, I told you, because I believe it is your choice. I just believe the father should also have some choice. I also believe that the choice should be made in a way that respects the significance of life. I believe that the choice should be made in a way that truly processes the potential of children and giving them a chance. Again, every statistic said I would end up dead or in jail or in poverty or something, right? But my mother, believed in this thing called God, and God was what kept me alive. God is what gave her faith to say, yeah, I know I'm a poor, broke, single mother, and at the age of 17 right now, but maybe things will change. Maybe this child is going to do something special. Maybe I can shift the generational curse. Maybe giving birth is something that allows me to secure a legacy, right? In a good way, right? Maybe these things can happen. So I just don't, it's not that I have an issue with the decision to terminate. It's just that it's just made in such an ignorant fucking way. And here's the thing. If you're making that decision, if you're black, I don't care what your choice is. It's totally up to you. Just make your own damn decision. Stop letting other people tell you what to do with your black baby. So when I drive through the hood and I see a billboard promoting the procedure, we'll call it the procedure, to black women and black parents, I'm like, who paid for this goddamn billboard? No, stop that. Because 9 times out of 10, if a black person paid for it, it's because they got the money from white people. You don't let people come and infiltrate your community and tell you what to do with your families. You don't do that. If you make the decision, at least make it your own decision and don't be somebody else's puppet slave. That's your problem. So I don't have a problem with your decision. I just need to know that it's your decision because you live in a country that doesn't train black people to do anything other than what their oppressor is telling them to do. So that's where I stand. So as far as this lady Amanda Duarte goes, Am I mad at her? No, she just said what everybody else is thinking. Shoot, I want to give that lady a hug. Oh, I wouldn't hug her in real life. But I want to thank her. Thank you, Amanda Duarte, for letting us know what's really going on so we can really talk about this. Because I'm sure that if she could take that tweet back, she would. I'm sure that she will never say this again. I'm sure that what happened was she let the cat out the bag. She let y'all know what was really going on, what's really going through people's minds. And it's a reminder that no matter who these individuals are, in general, they see you in a lower tier of society. That's why when Ice Cube was trying to get the Democrats to finally do right by black folks, it was the Democrats that were disrespecting him the most. It was the Democrats that were lying to him the most. He was calling me right after he'd have conversations with these people, and I was kind of like talking things through with him, and it was crazy how much disrespect he was getting from your so-called allies over here. So I don't believe anything that these bastards have to say. I only believe what you actually do. If you ain't doing nothing, then don't come to me saying nothing, because talk is cheap until you back it up with action. I believe not one single word that you say. Just cut me the damn check and get out of my face. That's my 2 cents. I'm done talking. Thank you all for listening. By the way, please hit the thumbs up, share, subscribe button. Also, boycewatkins.com. If you want to go there, you can find out about the event we have in Chicago. Me and my wife on May 15th. We're going to be in Chicago. Again, it's adults only, so make sure you don't bring any kids because it's for adults only. But it's going to be a great event. Also, the financial flashcards. I know you guys were asking about the flashcards for kids. We have some in stock. You can go to financialflashcards.com. That's financialflashcards.com if you want to get the flashcards for your kids. They're entrepreneurship flashcards, and also it's stock market investing, stuff like that. So if you want to train your kids on this kind of stuff, which is really important for you to do as parents, feel free to go to financialflashcards.com, or you can go to my website. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Have a good day. Thank you for listening. God bless you. And if I offended you, then just be ready, because I'm probably going to do it again. But I hope that we can talk and disagree and still be loved, because I don't have a problem with any of your perspectives. I just want you to think. Love you guys. I'll see you soon. Take care now. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to co-sign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.